You know, you'd think having so many games to choose from would make this process easier, but it never is. Every time I struggle to think of what to play next. All I know is that I fancy playing something on the PS2. That's it. Choosing just one game out of all of these is a nightmare, and my collection doesn't even come close to what some people have, so I can't imagine how they feel. Hang on a minute, what have we got here? Battle Construction Vehicles. The name alone has already got my attention, and the front cover? It looks insane. I've never heard of this before, and I already know what the game's going to be about. I've never played it, I've never heard of it, but the name describes exactly what this is going to be. Construction vehicles battling each other. That sounds kind of awesome, but what a weird idea for a game. Looking at the back, it doesn't seem to give me much information beyond what we could probably guess already. Different playable characters with different construction vehicles. 15 playable characters, but only 14 construction vehicles. That's interesting. Why couldn't they just have one per character? I guess we'll know when we play it. Special attacks. Giant baseball bats. Okay, now this is getting a lot more interesting now. A 16-stage story mode. I wonder what that's about. For what reason are people deciding to battle in construction vehicles? Well, I don't exactly have a lot more to say because I don't know anything about this. So let's pop it in the PS2 and see what we get.
I was born in a construction vehicle. No one can match my control. Ah! Look here! Who do you think I am? Hayato Kongo.
Can't beat me, youngster. Age will always prevail. Kazukio Danore.
Remain refined at all times. Heavy machinery should always move with grace.
Oh, okay. Whatever I was expecting, it wasn't this.
Matsubayama.
Only room for one heroine here. Underestimate me and you'll feel it. Kyoko Tachibana!
What's with the choice of voice actors here? It's like anime, but with little kid show CBeebies voices. It's really weird. It's such a strange juxtaposition. It puts you right out of whatever mood this is supposed to set you in, I guess.
We're hard at work again today. Out of the way. Move! Move or I'm smashing through. Okay, everyone here? Then let's get to work.
Okay!
BCV
Battle Construction Vehicles!
Okay, here's the menu screen. It looks like an early release for the PS2. Pretty basic looking, kind of low res, not a lot of options. So I guess we'll go with the story mode, since I'm guessing this other mode here is going to be 2-player. Now, what the hell the story of this could be, I don't know. But I've read it has a romantic subplot involving the player's stepsister. So yeah, there's the standards we've got to go on here.
You're tough, Gramps.
Listen to me. You must succeed your father. I beg you, young master.
Shut it, Gramps. I left because I didn't want to do just that, so he's dead. Still no reason to change my mind. Whoa, watch it! Easy there, Gramps, okay?
Look, young master. Since the boss died, the Congos have dispersed. All the factories round here have been taken by Shirabe, and we have nothing left.
Is that so? It still has nothing to do with me.
You're wrong, young master. You are the only son of the construction tiger Danjuro Kongo. The skill to drive heavy vehicles sleeps within you. Will you just let it slumber your entire life? Master Hayato!
This is ridiculous. The skill to drive heavy vehicles, as if it's the same as wielding a sword or weapon or martial arts. I can't tell whether I love it or hate it, but it sure as hell is strange. It really depends whether the developers of this actually were doing it with a bit of a sense of humour behind it, or not. It's really hard to tell, because this is a pretty typical anime kind of storyline, I guess. A whole bunch of characters, and reasons to fight each other through some kind of ludicrous means, in this case, construction vehicles. It sure is reaching, but it'll make for a unique game. You don't get this kind of thing often. Sometimes you get these fully animated and voice-acted segments, and then sometimes it's still images and written out dialogue. Either way, the bizarre tone is the same throughout.
BCV. Start.
So the gameplay begins. What the hell? I just mash buttons and it seems to do the trick. It looks like there's some kind of block button, which is where all these bits of scaffolding come up, I think that is, or whatever. Metal beams, you know what I'm talking about, you know what they are. It's just kind of chaos. I can't even say it's controlling poorly, because I guess I'm doing what I want. Moving around isn't actually too bad. I thought it would be worse. It's certainly nothing to be proud of, but it does the job just fine. The attacks are pretty underwhelming, but I guess strangely realistic. Like, it's all stuff these construction vehicles could do at a slower pace. But then you get these special attacks, and they are completely over the top. Straight out of any manga or anime.
Iron supplement! How's that?
Deep blue. Taste of the ocean. And that's that.
These bits are definitely the coolest part of the game, and it made me play for quite a while actually. It's a pretty repetitive game, but I did kind of want to see what each of the characters and vehicles' special moves were. And then sometimes this kind of little struggle thing happens where the characters yell at each other.
Back at you! Back at you! Back at you! Back at you!
I'd rather turn the volume down and just not hear the voices. You just mash buttons, and so far every single time I've won these little bits. From what I can tell, every battle area or map, whatever you want to call it, stage I guess, it's a fighting game after all, they all seem to be the same, or at least extremely similar. It's all on construction sites. They could have done a little bit more interesting here. You can have different types of construction sites. You could do it on the roof of a building or something, out in a field. I know it's not the most exciting stuff, but to make it just a little bit more different. I was having the easiest time in the world, and then I got up to one guy who just completely annihilates me. Every time you try to attack him, he hits you at the same time, but for 10 times as much damage. I tried a few times, but I couldn't beat him, and I just didn't feel like there was any need to keep going. I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and I really don't feel like having this game get even harder. So I think I'm going to stop here. It looks like I've already got the full experience from this game. And I can't exactly say I'm invested in the story. I don't really want to know whether I get with my, stepsister or not. I think I'll leave that out. You know, just when you think you've seen it all, something like this comes along. I have never played anything remotely like this before in my life. BCV, or Battle Construction Vehicles, has to be one of the most absurd experiences available on the PlayStation 2. I've never heard anyone ever mention this game in any form, anywhere, any context. It seems to be a complete hidden something. I don't know if it's a hidden gem. It's a weird game. It's not terrible, I guess. It's certainly entertaining, but not for very long. But I can't exactly say I regret playing it. It feels like one of those things where you just have to see it to believe it. Maybe the reason why it's so obscure and out there is because it's one of those games that was released exclusively in Japan and Europe, and from what I can tell it was released in Europe a good few years after it was released in Japan, so it was pretty outdated when it turned up. This was probably a bargain bin game, and it's one of those titles, like what was it called? I've got it up there, Fighting Fury. One of those games where I can't quite tell why it got localized for European audiences. But I can't really complain either. Crap like this just has a strange entertainment value. That's so bad it's good kind of deal. It's not going to keep you occupied for hours. I can't exactly sit here and recommend it, but it's not exactly an expensive game if you happen to have it in your collection, and you might be like myself and just not realise it's there. Then if for whatever reason you're looking for something kind of weird, this will do the trick. It'll only kill a couple of hours at most. But if you have a few friends over, you'll get a laugh out of it, and you could try the 2-player mode. That sounds different. That just about sums it up though for BCV Battle Construction Vehicles. I think I've squeezed every last drop out of this one. I don't know how I've managed to get so much content from such a bizarre and basic game. Will I ever play it again? Maybe, just to show people how strange it is. A weird little experience on the PlayStation 2. Check it out if you can. Don't go out of your way for it though. I'll see you next time for something, I don't know, I'm going to go with something not weird next time, I promise.
No bees or butterflies today? Something up with Matsuyama?
Now you mention it, he did actually say something about feeling ill this morning.
Huh. That's because we don't pay him well enough. I reckon he must have been forced to eat spoiled food. You know what your biggest problem is? It's an overactive imagination. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey then!
Who's driving
Who's
that?
driving that? Who are you? Get out of my machine!
What a heap of junk! The controls on this thing suck!